Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode number 27 of the Man Knows Hip Hop podcast. Me, your boy Slack in the building, and my co-pilot, co-host extraordinaire. What's happening, bro?
Major, I'm good, man. What's happening? We're here, man. Man Knows Hip Hop, the podcast that knows and celebrates hip hop. We're back again, another episode. Slack, what you saying, man?
Blessed and highly favored, bro. Blessed and highly favored. So this week we decided to go for the best versus the worst. So we thought we'd have a bit of fun. We thought we'd pick some MCs at random, and we'll choose the best and worst albums from each artist. So we don't know who each other's got. So Easton better not be throwing me up no Kodak Black or no shit like that. Keep it peaceful.
Just for you, man.
Keep it peaceful. So yeah, we'll see how we go, and then I'm sure there's going to be a couple honorable mentions as well, as always from Easton as well. So who wants to go first? Should we flip a coin or what?
Let's do rock, paper, scissors. Just one round.
All right, cool.
All right. Go.
Ready?
Yeah.
Go.
All right. One more time.
Ready? Boom. You first, bro.
All right. So I throw to you first. Yeah. So like I said, we'll try and rock with, like I said, Man Knows Hip Hop podcast that knows and celebrates hip hop. Don't mean if we listen to every single album from every single artist for every single catalog. So if we haven't, we'll just go into another artist. But yeah, we'll try and see how we get on, man. So first of all, I'm going to throw out to you someone who I put up recently on my Twitter, looking at their catalog. So why that's still fresh in my mind, I'm going to run with him. So none other than one of the greats from the West Coast, Ice Cube, best and worst.
Ice Cube, okay. This is tough. Amazing 3-album run. Kill It Will. See, my head says to go with America's Most Wanted for many reasons. The fact that he left one of the world's biggest groups and managed to come back on his own and blow up the way he did. That was something. But then you've got Death Certificate, which might actually be slightly better, because I think he was a bit more polished and slightly more angry. Then you got Predator, which was really good. One of the best storytelling songs of all time on there. Wicked with Death Certificate. All right, forget. I'm just gonna go with Death Certificate as my favorite, just because I think that was Cube at his finest. And for worst, I'm gonna go with one of his later albums, man. Something. Yeah. I am the West. I didn't like that album. Yeah, I didn't think that was a good album. Yeah. All right. I'm happy with those picks, I think.
All right. Yeah. I mean, good, cool.
I didn't really like, because I don't think the production was good. He didn't really sound inspired. It was just dull, and it felt a bit flat. And for him to say I am the West, I was expecting something a little bit more powerful than what we got, to be honest.
Yeah,
so,
I hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I think that's a good call. I mean, like we've discussed Lethal Injection on here a few times. I think that's an incredible album. If you're bringing Kill It Will into the equation as well, his first 5 projects, man, they're all brilliant projects, man. So like he had a strong start to his career, man. So probably any one of those first, probably 3, you could say is your favorite, man. I don't think anyone will bet on either that. But you hit the nail on the head for me. Kill It Will, obviously Kill It Will. America's Most Wanted, obviously Bomb Squad killed that. Done a tremendous job on that. But it's just something about Death Certificate, man. He just seems, yes, he's angrier, but he just seems more kind of, there was more direction to him as well. I felt like it was more like, boy, this guy's going to be a whole problem. So yeah, Lethal Injection for me, I think will always have a special place in my heart, because I've shared it before that even though I had elders and people like that brought me into hip hop and I heard it through them, when I first kind of got into it for myself, like investing in the culture, buying music and owning my own music instead of just like my big sister's hand-me-downs kind of thing, music-wise. Just clear that up, you know what I'm saying? Lethal Injection would have been the first Ice Cube album that I actually purchased and owned, like for myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm probably always going to have a closer affiliation with Lethal Injection. But yeah, man, I'm good. Yeah, I Am the West. I know what you mean. It was weaker them times, man. For me, it's probably Laugh Now, Cry Later. There's one or two on that, but on the whole, man, I can do without that. But yeah, man, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Good
I keep getting into like, I don't know, fatherhood, grandfatherhood. He just wasn't, you know what I mean? Up to maybe West Side Connection. I think he was pretty pissed off on that album too.
100.
And I think for him to be at his best, he kind of needs a little bit of he needs that fire in his belly, and he just didn't have that with those later albums. It was almost like he was trying to sound angry instead of being angry. You know what I mean? So being a millionaire and, you know, achieving everything that he's done, acting and 3 on 3 and everything else that he's done throughout his career, you're not really going to be as angry as you were at, you know, 18, 19, getting run over by the cops and everything else that he was pissed off at. So I wouldn't expect him to be as pissed as he was, but the music was just different, wasn't it?
Yeah, I agree, man. Agreed.
All right, so what? My turn now?
Yep.
All right, so let's see. Let's go with Lauryn Hill. No, I'm joking.
Lauryn Hill. Oh, did you see me? I was going to say Lauryn Hill.
One album. Let's go with Method Man.
Okay. Good shout. All right, Meth, best and worst. We're not going to get into Tikal debate again. Definitely not. But Tikal for me, I'd say is the best, and it sounds hypocritical because what I'm saying about Tikal, but I'll say it 1,000 times over. Now I like it a lot more today than I did in '94. Do you know what I'm saying? And not to sound like these old heads, but being around when something dropped and going back to listening to it, they're two completely different things, man. So so many people are like, oh, Tikal's dope. Yeah, it is. No one's disputing that. But I'm just saying in '94 it was different kettle of fish, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, now my favorite album from F is Tikal, definitely. I think it hits hard. The production, obviously, a lot of the things that I felt let down in the first place are still there, but over time, it's aged well. Let's say that. I think it's aged well. Worst, and I thought this sounds dark, but there's actually a lot to choose from because he's got to be one of the best MCs with the weakest catalog. Do you know what I'm saying?
One of definitely, yeah. Even those Meth Lab, I still haven't checked the last couple Meth Labs, man.
They're decent, you know. They're actually decent. Especially the last one he dropped a couple months back, man. He ain't lost a step, man. They're decent. They're actually really good projects. I don't know
if I can sit for an album of Meth. Like if it's a verse here and there, I'm cool, but I don't know, man. Like anything more than that, I'm kind of like I don't know.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. But
if you maybe want to really press play on those new ones, you know.
Yeah, no, those Meth Labs they're good, man. They definitely are. If you were to line up his catalog, I'd say they're towards the top tier of his catalog. I know it's not a long catalog, but definitely. So okay, all right. I'm waffling. So let me say, you know, I'm gonna actually go at the prequel. You know, Tikal Zero. Yeah, I'm gonna go at that one. For me, and you'll probably get that a lot through this episode because obviously we ain't really chopped it up about who we're calling out, but. For me, I just feel like what I remember of that, it was weak. It was like I was skipping a lot on there. But saying that, the track with Busta is incredible.
What's happening? Yeah.
That's sick, bro. The video, the song, both of them, their energy is mad. Even at the end of the song, they're like, man, we should do this again. Like man, please do. You know what I'm saying? That's a repeater for me. I love that song. But the album on the whole, disappointing. Yeah, everything about it, man. The artwork, everything is sick. But the actual project I ain't feeling, man. So it's like, nah. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Tikal the best, and the worst for me is Tikal Zero, the prequel.
Fair, very fair. All right. Next up.
Right. So for you, let me just hit my list. Right. Let me see. Who do I want to give you now? Okay, so I gave you Ice Cube. So let's go with Flea Lord.
Oh shit. Oh, how do you pick a best or a worst with that? Like 38 albums. Oh man,
this is why I'm laughing, bro. This is exactly why I'm laughing.
Shit. Okay, best. I'll have to go with the one he did with Pete Rock. I can't remember.
Okay, yeah, People's Champion.
Yeah, that one felt a little bit more focused than a lot of his other stuff. Worst, I could pick from a myriad of stuff because he's just dropped so much shit. All right, I won't say worst, but I'll say most disappointing was the album that he did with Rock Marcy, because I thought Rock Marcy production, and you got Rock Marcy sitting at the piano and shit on the cover. And I was like, all right, you might be giving him some shit. I didn't like that album at all. I didn't like anything about it. I thought, I didn't like the beats. The raps sounded weird, and his ad libs started to annoy me throughout the album. I just didn't enjoy it, and I was hoping that they would have been a great chemistry. I can't remember how it was called.
Delgado, was it?
Delgado.
Yeah,
that's it. Delgado. Yeah, that's right. I didn't enjoy that at all. I was very disappointed in that album, if I'm being honest. So that one will have to be my least favorite, Flea Lord. So
yeah, man. I think that's a really good shout. Yeah, I think that's a good shout, because as everyone knows, and as you know, I like Flea. You know what I mean? I think I'd probably say my favorite is probably Lord Talk 2. I think that's sick, man, start to finish, man. But yes, most polished, most directed, him feeling more comfortable and like, yeah, this is would be People's Chat. Pete Rock laced him, man. We know that. But that's why I laughed when you said the one with Rock Marcy, because I'd say definitely. If I was thinking about one, it was the least enjoyable for me, because the thing that was annoying about that is that I'm not a huge Rock Marcy fan anyway. Nothing but respect for him. I love what he's doing, but I'm not a big Rock Marcy fan anyway. But I do see the hype. I do know what people like about him. But in my heart, I was thinking, okay, we know Flea can spit. Do you know what I mean? We know he can rap. I'm thinking this might all be like a reasonable drought. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking,
that's exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Thinking, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't at all. So yeah, so yeah, good shout, man. I agree, but I laughed when I said Flea, because, like you said, man, he's got like 38 projects to choose from.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm cool with that.
All right, cool. For you next, I am going to pick DMX.
Oh, okay, DMX, man. Rest in peace to the dog, man. DMX. All right, so cool, easy. Favorite for me, It's Dark and Hell is Hot. I always said I'm going to stop saying favorites and top 10s and all that, but I need to, man. That is in my top 10 favorite hip hop albums of all time. It's Dark and Hell is Hot. And one of the huge deciding factors for me when it comes to putting an album in my top 10 is personal impact. And bro, 98 was a stacked year, but I can't tell you how much I was listening to that album, man. Like, and I've said it before, I've done a whole blog on DMX when he passed and everything like that, and on my top 10 albums, it's on my blog. But I'm just speaking about just that album for me. It's perfect, man. Like, the same thing that people turn around and say is a contradiction is what I love about it. Do you know what I mean? It's just you just feel the man struggle. Do you know what I'm saying? He tells a story, you see his struggle, you see his battle with demons. You know, not many albums are you going to get someone actively having a whole song, you know what I mean, Damien, Omen, like talking to the devil or whatever, and then like prayers throughout it as well. That song, when he's talking to God, the convo, bro, that hits me in the soul, man. That's just the stuff he's saying, man. It's like you feel like him and God is sitting down in a room and he's just like saying, you know, but why? Not many people can pull that off as masterfully as that, man. So yeah, that's an incredible album for me. For worst, Ooh, it's gonna have to be one of those clip art Photoshop looking albums, man. It's either the black one with just the red DMX or the one where he looks like he's lost in the desert. What is that?
I don't think either of them were official X albums.
Were they not official? Okay, if they weren't official,
I remember
cool.
I remember his estate going against someone before saying like it wasn't a proper album or something. Like the songs were hot. I've never listened to it because I could tell that wasn't a DMX album. Like he looked malnourished and all sorts on the front. It was just weird. It was just very weird,
bro. Yeah,
but yeah, I was kind of glad he came out and said, yeah, that wasn't an X album.
That's cool then. Yeah, that's cool. That was Undisputed. I remember. Okay, so if we take away those other ones, then
Year of the Dog. Was that? I was
gonna say it would be Year of the Dog. No, it was Undisputed, and then something about not Grand Champ. That was
Grand Champ wasn't great either. To be fair,
that was hard as well. Yeah. Let me go with Year of the Dog then, because I remember hearing that and thinking, that's the one where he's standing with the dog and he's got a hood up. So Year of the Dog, I'm going to say. If I could have said the other ones when he's like in the desert or whatever, then yeah, that one, because I skimmed them once or twice and I weren't feeling them. I know one of them's called Undisputed, but yeah, I weren't feeling them at all, man. They didn't have direction. That just weren't DMX, man. So yeah, I'd say one of those two.
Fair.
Yeah. All right, so put up my list. All right, so that's DMX. Right, so let's go with EPMD.
Oh shit. EPMD. Man, that's tough. All right. Favorite, probably Strictly Business for multiple reasons. Shit, least favorite. Maybe was it Closed for Business or Out of Business?
Out of Business.
And only because that was like pretty much the end of EPMD, which was one of my favorite duos of all time. Because their first 4 albums is very difficult to pick a favorite because there's something on all 4 of them. But I think Strictly, simply because it was the debut and it's got pretty much wall to wall like craziness. But what's the one with Headbanger on it? Business as Usual.
Business Never Personal.
Business Never Personal. That album is also very much up there as one of my favorite.
Trust me. Yeah. Hard album.
Business Never Personal is crazy. Back in Business is crazy with one of my favorite pussy cuts on there of all time. Keep It Moving. That's tough, but yeah, I'm gonna stick with that because I could sit here all day and try and change it around or whatever. But I think Strictly Business is a fair pick for my fave, for their best. And yeah, I'll just have to say Out of Business because it was the last album, and they did a nice kind of thing where they did like a greatest hits disc.
Yeah, that's
gave you some new songs on the other side. So yeah, man, I've got to go with that.
Yeah, EPMD actually, not by us because we always give them their props, but just whenever I start thinking about their catalog, I always think, man, that's so underrated.
That's so crazy.
Actually, those first, like the first 4 albums, literally, if anyone said any one of them was their favorites, I don't think anyone would argue it. It's sort of similar to Gangstar.
Exactly. Very similar to Gangstar's Quality Control, because you could literally play all 4 of pretty much all of their albums, apart from No More Mr. Nice Guy, which was kind of like like Mobb Deep's Juvenile Hell. They hadn't found their sound yet.
I was just gonna say none of them knew who they were at that point.
Yeah, they didn't know. Yeah, exactly. So pretty much from Step in the Arena and all that, it was like, okay, yeah, these guys are serious. And you can literally just play their catalog like all the way through. And I think you can do the same thing with EPMD.
Yeah, agreed, man. Agreed. Yeah. That Back in Business was hard, man. A lot of people slept on that, but that was, man.
That's
like you said, Kim's on
there. Yeah. Very, very hard.
Yeah, man. Good shout. EPMD. All right, cool. What you got for me?
All right, man. For my next one, I'm gonna go with. Are you ready? The white boy from Detroit, Eminem.
Okay, cool, interesting. I don't know why I feel nervous when it's your turn. You know, I feel like you're gonna give me some. I feel like you're gonna tell me some madness. But okay, let me see. All right, so yeah, that's a good one actually. I like that one. Okay, so Eminem, my favorite Slim Shady LP. Yeah.
Over Marshall Mathers LP.
Yeah, I always have this debate. I think Marshall Mathers LP is the better album. I know, yeah, I think it's the better album. But for me, my favorite is definitely Slim Shady LP. I just feel like Eminem got more into his horrorcore and his shock rap even more in Marshall Mathers LP. Yeah,
He definitely did.
yeah, do you know what I'm saying? But there's something about Slim Shady LP that I like. Like when Eminem's at his best for me is when he had that high pitch, annoying voice, just having fun, man. Like not really caring. And I know he didn't on Marshall Mathers LP, but he was angrier on that. Like when you look at Slim Shady, he was having fun. It's almost like he knew he was going to blow, of course, but it's almost like he didn't know he was going to blow like that.
Not that big, exactly.
You get me? Because because he starts addressing that on The Way I Am and loads of songs on Marshall Mathers LP. So I feel like Slim Shady, he was just still having fun, still kind of like, let's just see what goes down. You know what I mean? He had good collaborations on there, what he did have on there. I like that album a lot, man. Whenever I go to it, probably one of my favorite Eminem songs of all time is Role Model, which is off that album. You know what I'm saying?
Role Model's hard.
Yeah, bro. So
I still don't give a fuck. It's hard.
Yeah, definitely. Bad Meets Evil with Royce kills that. So yeah, man.
It's funny because on that album, it's mainly the Dre songs I didn't like. I didn't like My Name. My name is like it did its thing to introduce him or whatever, and he had some mad lyrics on there, like about impregnated Spice Girls and all this kind of shit. So it's kind of like, what did he say? And the funny thing is, when it first came out, I remember because I was working at a record label at the time, and this song kept coming on because we used to play like a radio in the office or whatever. So I'm like, who is this dude? Who is this guy? And it was like, oh, the Eminem or whatever. I was like, all right. I had no idea the dude was white at the time. And then when I found out, I was like, oh shit, he's white. Can't believe it. Yeah, he was very, very dope when he came out.
100%, man.
Yeah, that first album it did its thing. I remember buying it from Mr. CD. And when I went home, I just remember I was reading through the thingy as it was playing. And like, when you're waiting for a bad song to come on, like every song came on, I was like, oh, this is nice, this is good, what did he say?
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah. And then I think it was Drug Ballad, one of those kind of weird kind of white boy mosh songs.
Yeah, exactly.
But the rest of it, and then when it ended with Still Don't Give a Fuck, I was like, okay, this guy is serious. Role Model, as you said, Rock Bottom was fire as well. So a lot of those songs, and I'm like, damn, this guy he's actually saying some shit. Yeah. So yeah, man, I like the album. Me personally, I would say Marshall Mathers, but it ain't my thing. It's yours. So go.
Yeah. I get why people say that. I definitely do. That'd be my second favorite.
I think it was and there was more. It seemed like there was more Dre. It feels like the first album was done, and then they were like, Dre, give me some beats too. So he added like Guilty Conscience and and because his songs on there are not very good. Like Guilty Conscience is not a very good song. It's good for the album, but when it came out as a single, and they basically
it's not a single song. It shouldn't come out as a single. Nah, it's not a single song.
Because it was censored so heavily. It was like people couldn't understand what he was saying. It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's a very good album.
There were good songs on there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a very good album, man. It had quite a heavy impact as for most, and I thought he was really lyrically impressive on that. Let me say this: I don't think none of his albums have aged well. Like, I don't think any of his albums have aged well.
They haven't.
Do you know what I mean? But if we're looking at best, I think him. But yeah, so I'm a fan of early M. Not really like I don't really visit, Infinite or nothing like that. But the first Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers, Eminem show. Even the stuff he done all over 2001, even the stuff he done with D12. Do you know what I mean? Early I'm a fan of, no doubt. So to get to my least favorite, You know what? I would almost immediately go to say something like Relapse or Recovery or something like that. Do you know what I mean? But I'm actually gonna say Music to Be Murdered By. And the reason I'm gonna say that album is because I feel like early noughties, mid noughties, or to late noughties actually, when he was dropping those Recovery, Relapse, and all that, he was still listenable. You know what I mean? He might not have been a favorite of mine, but he was still listenable. I can't listen to him now. You know what I'm saying?
I couldn't finish the album. It was painful.
I finished it, but it was painful. Like, and it hurts. And I'm not even saying this to have a go at him, because, like I said, I'm a fan of early Eminem. Do you know what I mean? I think he's an incredible MC. But that Music to Be, I can't listen to. I can just about get through a verse from him now. Where he seemed like he was just so effortlessly having fun before, like the freestyles he done on Westwood and the other like Funk Flex and all these kind of stuff he done. I can't even remember the freestyle where it was now, but I remember he just started like speaking in tongues and just messing about. That's
that
was, I love. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's the Eminem like I love, man.
It was what was the line? Let retarded kick they grab with one leg.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah. And he starts
off and beat him over the head with it. I was like, what?
He just goes off, man. Spray puffy with Mason, all this and that. Do you know what I mean? It's like he's having fun, man. I enjoy that Eminem, but and it's just like effortless fun. But now it feels like he's trying to be that Eminem again. And it's just like when he done that freestyle, was it the BET one or whatever, when he's talking about what was it? That's a mighty hot. I can't even remember now, but it was just like, oh man, I actually feel embarrassed for you, bro. But yeah, no, I'm not. So I'll say Music to Be Murdered By. Because I think that's the last one he dropped, innit?
I think it was. No, he did like a two-sided thing, if I remember correctly. He dropped that album and then he did like a side B. So in total, it's like 30-something songs, and I'm like, there's no fucking way. There's no way, bro.
Actually, that and Revival. You pick any of those two. Any of those two.
So that Revival album, I had that. I think I said it on episode before, but I had downloaded that album and I went on holiday, right? And I was like, I'll go listen to the album on the plane. Bro, I skipped literally every song on that album. And my girl's like looking at me like, what's the matter with you? Yeah. She's like, what's the matter with you? I'm like, this album is absolutely awful. Like, I've never heard something as bad as this. She's like, it can't be. It's everything can't be that bad. But I was like, nah. I again, if I played the album now, I wouldn't remember anything off it because I haven't listened to it since. Marshall Mathers LP2, I didn't think pretty much anything after Eminem Show, and I'm not the biggest Eminem Show fan either. I think there's some great songs on there, but I think there's a lot of songs like Haley's song, My Dad's Gone Crazy, Square Dance. I don't think it was good. Like the beats, I don't think was good on some of them, and so I don't regard it as the classic that a lot of people seem to.
I don't think it's a classic. No.
On Twitter anyway, because I don't hear that off Twitter, but it's regarded as a classic album on Twitter. So I'm like, all right, cool, have that, that's fine. But for me, it's the first two, and then that's it. I can't really go much further than that.
No, I hear that. Yeah, man, I like Eminem Show.
Revival or his last one. I'll definitely have to go with you on that, man, because I couldn't finish the last one. So yeah, terrible. Right. So my turn, right? Yeah.
Nah, me too.
Your turn.
Me too. Shit. Me too. Yeah. So right, what have we done? Cube, Flea, EP, and D. Let's mix it up a little bit. Let's go with the one who just celebrated her birthday this week. Let's go with the Queen, Little Kim.
Kim. All right. Easily, her first album is her best album. This seems to be a theme. It seems to be the debuts always seem to be like up there as their best album.
I've noticed that. It's because of impact as well, isn't it?
Interesting. Right. So hardcore for many reasons. Number one, there was nobody rapping like Kim when she came out. Nobody. She was raw and she was hungry, and she was this little tiny 4 foot whatever woman, and she just sounded huge when she rapped. She sounded like she was 6 foot tall. Like it was incredible, man. And then that rollout with that picture of her squatting down and shit like that, bro. Everyone watching this, male and female, had that poster on the wall.
Every
one of you that's watching this right now, you all had the poster on the wall. Don't lie, you did. I know I did. I know for a fact you did.
Mm.
So let's keep it
Proper
true.
iconic, man. Probably one of the most iconic. That's like Marilyn Monroe holding her skirt down
That's
with
that's
the
it.
blowy
Marilyn
thing. You
Monroe
know what I
for hip
mean?
hop.
That's like the most
Absolutely.
iconic picture, man.
Everyone was busting that poster, man. Everyone had that shit. So the rollout was perfect, and Big obviously was on top. So for it to be his protege and all that shit, it's like, oh, Big is bringing out a female rapper. All right. The only thing I didn't like about the single was your boy Love.
My boy.
Puffy Love.
Oh, you're funny. What?
That
What? No time. No time. The single. No
yeah,
time.
I fucking
No
hated
time's
that.
hard though, bro. Do you know how sick
It's
that track is,
hard,
though?
bro,
I
but I
love
can't.
it.
Why is he on there? Like, why are you here? I don't understand what you're doing.
That. That's
Bro,
funny.
that really pissed me off. Like,
That is
but
funny.
it's cool. I'm over it. Yeah, just so many so many dope songs on there, man. I never understood Crushing You though. I was like, why is she not on Crushing You? This is weird. It was just
Yeah,
C's.
on the album version, she's not, is she? Yeah, I think
Exactly, when the
it was
video
only the
came out.
single. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. When the video came out, then I'm like, oh, so you already got okay. Fuck it, forget it.
Yeah.
Big Mama Thing. Yeah, man. There was like a little bit on the album where it was like weird. It was like, I don't want dick tonight. That was a weird song. And then it started getting a bit parody for a few songs, but then it picked up again. But I thought it was a really good debut, man. Like one of the best female debut albums. Best album, I would say Notorious Kim, but I understand why it was probably not her best work, because I didn't expect her to rap again once Big died.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Big just passed, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, man. So Big had just gone, like her inspiration and all that stuff. So yeah, I didn't expect it to be an amazing album. So yeah, that was the one that I liked least. But then she came back with La Bella Mafia, and that was a good album.
Yeah, she has some gems on that still.
Yeah. But I really like the first single, no matter what people say, was fire.
Definitely.
I love that song. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with that album, even though it's got one of my favorite Kim singles on it.
Yeah, man, that's cool. Yeah, I'd probably agree with that, man. Definitely hardcore. For me, Queen Bitch is probably my favorite Kim track, like
fire
all time. Yeah, hard album, man. Yeah, and what was the one that Source gave 5 mics to?
Naked Truth.
Naked Truth. Now, I ain't gonna say that's the worst, but I think for me, probably because of the hype it was getting.
Yeah,
I'm thinking, what? You know what I mean? So when I think of disappointed albums, I'll probably say Naked Truth, but that's probably only because I was probably thinking I was expecting like a, you know what I mean? Yeah, right, exactly, and it's not that for me. But yeah, I hear that, man. I understand, but definitely, yeah, for her to even do anything, the Notorious Kim after, it was a surprise. Yeah, definitely, because she was cut out, man. All right, yeah.
All right. Okay. Outcast.
Okay, Outcast. All right, so I'm gonna start with the worst for this one. Does Idlewild count as an Outcast album? Not really.
Not really, nah.
Yeah, more soundtracky in it. Okay, so I'm gonna take that one off then. So I'm gonna go with the Love Below Speaker Box then, as the worst. But once again, I'm not saying it's bad. I love how they done it. I absolutely love how they done it, because it's not a Dre solo, it's not a Big Boy solo, it's an Outcast album. Do you know what I mean? But they're solos. You see what I'm saying? So I actually love the concept of that, because they're both winning. Like, no matter what sales, or you know what I mean, if they both dropped a solo at the same time, it would have been more like, oh, who outsold who and blah blah blah. But I love how they done it. Almost dropped 2 solo albums as a double. And the contrast of it was just so different. But yeah, so Outcast, you know what I mean? So me putting it down as the worst, I'm not saying it's a bad album, but if I'm looking, they got strong catalogs. If I'm looking at the catalog, I'd say that one. saying that though, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. Because I was gonna say the album before that was a bit experimental for me, and there was a lot of skippers on that. What's it called,
Stankonia.
man? Yeah, there's a lot of skippers on that, but there's a lot of heat as well. So it's weird. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with Love Below Speaker Box. But my favorite, definitely Aquemini. Love that album. Love that album. I know your favorite is the debut. I know a lot of people. Yeah, I know a lot of people like 80 Aliens as well. But for me, yeah, definitely Aquemini. I just don't think it puts a foot wrong. Probably 2 weeks ago, I had it on repeat again. And I just think it's an incredible album.
Man.
I love that song. I love it. I love that song, man. Dre's verse, bro. Dre's verse on Mamacita is mad, bro.
Bro, that song, man. Oh.
I love it. All right, the chorus could be a little bit like, you know what I mean, jarring at times.
I can't make it through that.
But the bass line on that, the track on that, and Dre's verse, it's actually funny. Like, do you know what I'm saying? He's talking about the girl. Yeah, I love it, man. I think it's a hard track. I like that track. I like the album. Return of the Gangsters, probably one of my favorite Outkast songs altogether. Obviously Skewett on the Barbie, we know the singles that came from that as well. Yeah, hard album, man. So I'm gonna go with Aquemini. But the first three could go in any order. For me, it would be Aquemini, my favorite, and the title track as well. I love, and then I'd probably put 80 Alien second, and then Southern Playalistic third. But those three albums, man, incredible albums, man, strong catalog. So yeah, that's what I'd do. Aquemini and Love Below. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, like you said, it will be Southern Playalistic first, Aquemini second, and 80 Aliens third.
All right, strong albums, man. Strong albums.
Don't care about. So yeah. All right, man.
Yeah. Okay, so what have I hit you with? I've hit you with Cube, Flea, EPMD, Little Kim. All right, looking in my goodie bag. I'm gonna hit you with one of the best from the South, Scarface.
Shit, does Scarface have a worst album? My favorite Face album. My favorite Face album will probably be either The Diary or The Fix, one of those two. The Diary, because it was very raw, and I love the first single, I Seen a Man Die. That single was an incredible tune. He was, I don't know, he was very raw still, like very kind of, very, yeah, just reminiscent of very early, like late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Scarface, like he was still, the way he rapped was much more kind of aggressive and angry. But then by The Fix, it's like he had elevated, like he was rapping like a little bit still raw and his voice and everything, but he was more smooth with it. I can't explain.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, because The Diary was very and then The Fix was more like he was more saying fucked up shit, but in a more mellow way.
Yeah, totally.
Instead of someone going "fuck you," it's like someone going "fuck you." Do you know what I mean? Like, the message is still like hard, but the delivery is different. So it's kind of like, you know what I mean, the yin and the yang. So picking between those two. Shit. One's got Hand of the Dead Body on there as well. But then the other one has got the tune with T-Boz and Nas, In Between Us.
Oh yeah.
That's ridiculous.
And
then
I'm a huge fan of it, but I get the hype.
Without that hook, that song is fire. The hook kind of lets it down, but the song itself, yeah, all right, fuck it, I'll go for the Fix.
Okay,
That's
cool.
And then my least favorite. All right, I'm gonna say my homies, and only because it's a double album and it's too effing long.
Yeah, there's too many people on it, man.
There's too many people on there, and I understand like he was you know putting everyone from the south on there. That was dope. Like Devin the Dude is like one of my favorite rappers. So it's good. Yeah, I mean, it's picking among the weeds, isn't it? Like it was just too much going on.
Definitely.
So for that reason, yeah, I'm gonna have to say that one probably my least favorite Face album.
Yeah, I definitely had that down in my mind as well as the least. Once again, not because it's bad, just I think you've almost just got to look at that as not a Scarface album. Do you know what I mean? It's just like a South album or what have you. But so yeah, I would agree with that. And also, I'd say the Fix is mine as well. And it's funny, as I know exactly what you mean. On the Diary, he was very much like just raw Scarface, Jesse James Scarface. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Of course, that's the Scarface we love. But I felt like his game elevated on the Fix, and I think it's a lot to do with the production, the people he was around. Do you know what I mean? And I don't say this, believe me, I don't say this to take anything away from Face, because Face was Face before any cosign or any mention. Face was Face. We know that. Do you know what I'm saying? Ghetto Boys, you know, they're legends. We understand that. But I feel like around that time as well, he was almost getting more love on other coasts. Do you know what I mean? Like the J cosign, the Kanye cosign, little things like that. And I feel like his sound and style broadened a little bit. So I don't want to say that's why it was my favorite, because that's not the case at all. But I just think I favored the production on the Fix. Do you know what I'm saying? Over the Diary. But those two definitely is two best. I'll tell you what's underrated though. I never hear anyone mention it. Is Untouchable '97.
Yeah,
I actually think I think it's a sick album, man.
Yeah.
I definitely had that in heavy rotation in '97.
That song "Smart," I used to play that song over and over and over. That song is so fire.
Yeah, so it's hard album. Game Over.
And
Mary Jane was on that, innit?
You had the tune with Tupac on there, right?
Smile. That
was just after Pac died.
It was, because I think he added those bits at the end where he's saying prayer for that. I don't think that was there before. So yeah, that was just after he died. Obviously, I think Mary Jane's on. No, what album's Mary Jane on? I'm totally mixing it up, man. Mary Jane would have been on the Diary, innit? Yeah, sorry, my bad. I'm totally mixing it up. I think it's Game Over I'm thinking of. But yeah, Untouchable's a good album, man. I had that in rotation as well. But yeah, man, like them choices.
All right. Right. So for you now. Let's go for Corrupt.
Ooh, Corrupt. Okay, that's actually tricky. I'll tell you why that's tricky. Good call, but I'll tell you why it's tricky is because I don't feel I spent much time with his catalogue, which is a shame, because we all know early Corrupt, you know what I mean, Doggy Style, Chronic, Dog Food. For me, people talk about Prodigy in '96 and even like Nas '94, and I mean Biggie '94, '95, whatever. If we're looking at MCs at a certain time frame, trust me, I want to say, man, Corrupt from '93 or '92, if you're counting Chronic as well, through to '95 was a problem, man. Like he was like, man, he's actually a dope MC, man. So Corrupt definitely
killing it.
Yeah, man. Like he'd come on the track and just make it his own. Do you know what I'm saying? So like we was talking about on the features episode. But yeah, and Dog Food for me, classic. And you all know I don't throw out that word often. I think it's an incredible album. And I've always said Corrupt's flow and sound is just tight. It's not a word I can really. It's like he's tight with his pronunciations and his flow. Every word is just pronounced. He's a sick MC, man, as we know. So props to Corrupt. But to answer your question, man, if we're not counting any of that and just solo work, the best is Streets is a Mother. I'm going to go with that. That should have been a debut for me. Do you know what I mean? I was bitterly disappointed with Corruption. You know
I think
what I'm
we
saying?
all were.
Yeah, man. So I was waiting for that, man. As we've just said, after the back of all of that. What year was that? That was 97, 96,
98,
97, 98? Okay, cool. So,
right there.
yeah, so yeah, my time is wrong. But I'm just thinking after Dog Food and all of that, I know Death Row went through what he's going through. And I know he's doing his own thing, his own label and all that. I wanted to hear something from Corrupt in it. So, and I even was like, We Can Freak It. I'm not even a huge fan of that song, if I'm honest with you, man. I know, bro. I know. I said it on the timeline once. It was like, I'm mad, but I don't know. I could live without that album very, very easily. Now, he redeemed himself with Streets as a Mother. So that if that was a debut, I'd be like, yeah. So there's the answer to your question. Streets as a Mother would be my favorite. And I'd probably say my least. I still need to hear the work he done with Quick. He done a whole album with Quick. I haven't heard that. I still need to hear that, actually. I know that would actually be hard. So out of what I've actually heard and spent time with, I'm going to have to say Corruption because of the disappointment factor for me. The other ones, I almost felt like there were some gems on it. What I've heard from him, there were some gems on it and he delivered. But probably because I wasn't expecting that much, I wasn't as disappointed. So if we're bringing disappointment into it, I'm going to say Corruption, man, which is actually a mad thing to say, but yeah, definitely so.
It wasn't
dope
good.
MC though. It wasn't, man. And Double, I love the whole concept, the East and the West concept. I remember bringing it home opening it, thinking that's sick. I remember, but,
yeah, me too.
You know what I mean? But yeah, just think about how sick that concept is, man. I just
That
feel
could
like
have
he
been
could have
great.
done. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. That could have been hard, man. I like the track with the Outlaws, but nothing else stands out to me, man. Nothing else really stands out to me.
We Can Freak It, and I think Ho's a Housewife. I think that was the first time it came out, and then I think Dre put it on 2001 albums again.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that as well. But yeah, considering how good he was,
yeah, man.
Yeah, it was a shame that was his debut, and yeah. So yeah, I agree.
Man. Yeah, Streets' Mother should have been the one. All right, so how many have I hit you with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should we do one more for the road? Yeah, let's do one more for the road.
Yeah.
All right, so okay, so let me go with the Blastmaster, KRS-One.
Best album. I'm gonna go with his self-titled album as my favorite solo KRS-One
album. Solo, yeah.
Very, very closely run by Return of the Boom Bap and I Got Next. Very closely run, but I would have to say, yeah, KRS-One album. Least favorite will probably be that gospel thing he tried, Spiritual Minded or something like that. Yeah. I'm sure there's ones parallel because he's released a load of stuff over the last years. Some I haven't actually heard, so I can't really comment. So yeah, it'll have to be spiritual minded or spiritually minded or however they put it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, because I think that I'd agree. Self-Titled is my favorite album from KRS as well. Followed, I think I'd probably go with I Got Next as my second, then Temple. But yeah, doesn't really put a foot wrong with those three, to be honest. And like you said, he's got loads of albums that he's dropped, man. I think Keep Right, Crystals, loads that I haven't even heard.
Exactly.
Or spent a lot, or maybe skimmed them and not spent a lot of time with them. Do you know what I mean? Enough to rate, but I spent time with the Spiritual Minded, and because I found the concept really interesting. Because I remember everyone was like, "Oh, KRS has turned into a gospel artist." I was like, "What, for real?" There's like, "Yeah, he's doing gospel now." So I obviously copped it to hear what he was saying and blah blah blah. But yeah, as I know he was saying, including the obviously BDP albums, that would have been, I think, album number 10. So I think he wanted it to have some kind of, he felt like it was a significant amount of albums and blah blah blah. But yeah, I wasn't really feeling it, man. You know what I mean? I respect what you're trying to do, but yeah, no, that's a good shout. Okay. Yeah, but so okay, just a question to throw at you, just out of curiosity. If you were including BDP albums, what would be your favorite, including BDP albums?
Probably by any means necessary will probably be my favorite. I do like Edutainment as well. But I think my favorite, would have to be By Any Means Necessary. I think that they were they leveled up a little bit by then. I think that was where they were at their kind of peak.
Yeah.
So for everything it meant to the culture, slightly higher than KRS-One album. But for enjoyment, maybe still BDP.
yeah, I get that. All right, cool. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, sounds about the same.
All right. Let's go for Jeffrey Atkins.
And his, you're funny. I should have hit you with that one.
And his woman is delicious.
You're funny. I should have hit you with Jeffrey, bro. And I'm not just saying it. I swear to you, bro. Anyone who knows me will tell you, bro. I've never, ever. And that's what people listen, man. People always talking about, you know what I mean, revisionist and changing things and blah blah blah. And Ja Rule was huge and he had singles. And one time I said that I wasn't a fan, and someone was like, "Nah, you're lying, man, because he was huge." Okay, but I was never a Ja Rule fan. I can pull people. I can pull people in front of this computer and tell you, man, I ain't joking. I was never a Ja Rule fan. Did he have certain singles that were cool? Okay, yeah. Did he have certain singles you couldn't escape or find yourself humming along to? Yeah, of course. The only time, shout out to Jane Flame from Choice FM, she was trying to put me on to Ja Rule. She was like, "Nah, man, that the debut is heavy, man. Listen to the debut. And she used to love it. She used to always play it. And I'm thinking, okay, cool. So I listened to the debut, and I thought some of the songs are all right. The song with, DMX and Jay, and I never liked Holla Holla.
Me neither.
Yeah, I just wasn't a fan. I've just never really been into Ja Rule. For me, I just felt like he was a DMX wannabe. And we've heard the whole story that, Ja Rule saying, "No, I sing." He just still, though, I just felt like he was kind of trying to be Tupac and DMX and everyone. So from the moment I knew him, it didn't sit right. I'm glad he found his lane, just doing his singing and his poppy stuff, because that's him. And I don't even have a problem with it. Even Drake, I always say this to people, I don't have a problem with Drake because I don't deem Drake as a rapper like that. I just almost deem him as a pop artist. You know what I'm saying? I actually don't have a problem with what he does, because he does what he does and he's doing it well in his lane. That's cool. But for me, I don't own any Ja Rule music. Do you know what I mean? To say, yeah, Ja Rule. But I'll try and answer your question for the sake that you answered it. If I had to say best, then I'm going to have to say the debut, because it's the only one I probably spent any time with at all out of full albums. But worst, boy, I don't know. You could literally take your pick, because I don't really spend much time with them. Maybe shout out to Ja Rule, though, because everyone talks about Jay and these artists that are dropping albums every year. He was doing that too. So I remember he was dropping an album every year, man.
Yeah, but they were shit.
Yeah, not saying they were particularly good, but he was on it. He was on his hustle, like his grind. I can't do it, bro. I don't know. Like, take a pick. Favorite, I'll say debut.
I couldn't even tell you the titles of these fucking albums, so I'm the last person that's gonna be able to help you on that one.
I know titles because I'm good with remembering like titles and what they look like. You know what I'm saying? So I know he had that Last Temptation, because I remember I did like a song he had on there. The song with Bobby Brown. I did like that song. I ain't gonna lie. The song with Bobby Brown. I think that was on that Last Temptation.
Awful. Jesus Christ. Oh,
bro. The song with Bobby. I don't say everyone knows I love Stevie Wonder in it. So the one he done with the Stevie Wonder, was it with Case? I didn't check that, obviously. Yeah, something like that. But I'm waffling. I can't answer, man. Best, I'll go with the debut. Anything else you can take, man. I've never ever been a Ja Rule fan. That's real talk, man. Ever.
Fair.
But
I never finished Ja Rule, so I couldn't even tell you. Like, nah, I don't know nothing about his catalog. Sorry.
That's funny, bro. And I was being nice as well. I was going to throw in some Drake and some Russ and some, I don't know, for you, man throws Ja Rule straight at me. I'm going to remember that next time we do one of these. All right, let me hit you with one more then. One more for the road. I did have Gangstar down, but we kind of touched on that when we were speaking about EPMD. So I'm going to go to, the Broad Street Bully, Beanie Siegel.
Okay, Beanie Siegel's best album would be The Reason, in my opinion. Nah, maybe The Be Coming. That was fire too.
Definitely.
Two fire back-to-backs. I can't choose between the two. Because The Be Coming was the one that started with what's that shoot? Nothing Like It.
That was Kanye, Nothing Like It.
I think that was The Be Coming.
I think that was The Reason, you know. I might be wrong. Let me check now. I'm curious.
Yeah. So if it's that one, that might be my favorite.
Let's have a look. The Reason. Nothing Like It's The Reason. Yeah.
Reason.
That was The Reason. That was the second album, yeah.
And The Be Coming is third?
Yeah.
That's the one where he's in the prison cell, right?
That's the one.
All right, I'm gonna go with The Reason, man. I'm gonna go with The Reason. Worst album, I'm gonna go with, I can't remember the name of it, but he's in like a fedora hat on a cover doing some 1970s kind of pose.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, I can't remember. That's why it's my least favorite. I can't even remember it.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see. I'm gonna try to find this now.
Yeah, it was him in like a suit and a suit and a hat.
Yeah, so The Be Coming is the third. That would probably be my favorite, probably. Is it The Solution you're thinking of?
No.
Broad Street Bully. Nah, that's just a green cover. I'm looking at the cover and laughing, bro. Yeah, it looks like bloody, what's his name on the front of that? It's called This Time.
This Time.
Yeah, I'm laughing, bro. It's proper like that for real. It looks like Big Worm on that. But yeah, This Time, bro. I don't even know this album. I don't think I've even heard it, bro.
There you go.
When was that? 2012. I don't think I've even heard it.
Yeah.
Bro,
don't bother.
Okay. That's interesting, man. I don't think I've even heard that. Okay, yeah. So what did you say? The Reason and This Time.
Okay. The Reason, This Time. Yeah.
The Reason was my favorite for a while, and I think I switched it recently to Be Coming, only because I think I had it. I was listening to it and I was like, oh man, this is actually nice, like banger after banger. But yeah, I think any of the second and the third for me, it could run. But yeah, man. Okay, cool choices, man. Beanie Siegel. Are we on par, or have you got to ask me one more? I can't remember.
We're on par now. We're good.
We're on par. Okay. So that was interesting, man. That was interesting.
All right. So let's see. For honorable mentions, who else did I have? Onyx.
Ooh, good shout.
Snoop. Keith Murray. Royce the 5'9".
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Onyx, I'd probably say, I'd probably go with Shut 'Em Down. 98, 97, 98.
98, yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably go with Shut 'Em Down. I know a lot of people prefer the one before that. Which is,
got his us.
Yeah, that's one sick. I know that. Yeah. I don't know. I think Shut 'Em Down I probably played the most, man. I just think that's hard. I think on it, what's it called? Stickies. He just shines on that album, man. Like literally. The tracks with Pun, the track with DMX, Black
Wu-Tang.
Dust, Wu,
The
50
Stories,
even.
Robin Fink, Veronica.
Yeah, I think it's a hard album, man. Very good album. So I'd go with that. Keith Murray, definitely his first album will be my favorite. Oh, sorry, and I didn't say a worst for Onyx. They're another one that's kind of dropped a few albums.
Yeah.
I think I don't think I spent enough time with the later albums. Do you know what I'm saying? When I say later, not the ones they've dropped over the last couple of years because they've been hard. I like those and the work they've done with Snow Goons. But it was an album they dropped around 08, 09 time. I didn't like that at all. And I can't remember what it's called.
They did like a Back the Fuck Up Part 2, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
They that was horrible. They did an album called Trigonometry.
That's the one. That's the one I'm thinking of. That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, so put that down as their worst. Keith, my favorite would be the debut Hard, man. Herb is pumping. There's like you can just play that and just leave it running. I love that song. So many tracks on there anyway that I love. Obviously the singles are hard. Least favorite, probably that one where he's got like the red leather bomber on the front.
Yeah, same. The Def Jam.
Yeah. What's it called again? Is it He's Keith Murray or something?
Yeah.
That one. He's another man. He's another one that I had so much high hopes for, man. That first album was hard. The second one as well, Enigma.
Second one was hard.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And just Def Squad on the whole, that they just felt so good, man. Do you know what I mean? Like I was listening to what song came on the other day? If you got a crew, you better tell them. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, man, Def Squad, yeah, they just felt good, man. They was a good crew, man. But yeah, who else did you say? Royce. Oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, actually. Oh, I might even say, and a lot of people, Algorithm would probably be one of my least favorites, which is a shame. I know a lot of people big that album up a lot. And I do like it, like the maturity and everything on it, but the production lets it down.
It's the beat, man. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, the production lets it down for me, man. Because Royce is a high caliber, top tier MC, but I just didn't enjoy the beats on that, man. And favorites, I'd probably say like Def is certain. Layers was even good.
Layers good.
I really like Layers. So yeah, we'll probably go with that. Def is certain, maybe. That's the one that had hip hop on it, innit? That's the one that had Yeah, Def is certain. What else did you say? Royce, Onyx. Snoop. Oh, easy. Doggy Style.
Worst.
Easy. Favorite. Worst, Dogfather. Easily Dogfather, bro.
Not even his No Limit album.
Nah, Dogfather. Trust me. Because it might even be just going back to the disappointment thing again, but bro, how, man? How do you go from Doggy Style to Dogfather? Nah, man, I weren't feeling that at all. It's horrible. Yeah, my world crumbled that day when I played that. I never forget it, man. And shout out to my virgin D Sean, I remember, because he lent me the CD. So I'm at school now, innit? I'm excited. And he's like, oh, I've got the new, because he had like family in America, so he used to get stuff early. And he was like, oh man, I got the new Snoop album. I'm like, nah, don't lie. He's like, yeah, I got the new Snoop album. And I was obviously addicted to Doggy Style. So I'm like, cool. And he gave me the CD. He's like, but you got to look after it, bro. Look after it. I'm like, yeah, definitely, man. It's like, bring it back for me tomorrow. I'm like, bro, trust me, man. Give me the thing. I'll bring it back tomorrow. Brought it home, bro. Opened up the case. It was empty. It was empty. No. I'll never forget, man. He left the disc in his player. So, you know, these times, you ain't put out on a mobile or run into his house and getting it. So I was like, oh, man, so I had to wait till the next day. Got it the next day. Came home, played it. And I thought, bro, was this all that? Oh, it was terrible,
you went through all of that for that.
All that for nothing. But yeah. Shout out to Steve anyway for giving us a Doggy Style. Super classic, but yeah, nothing else.
Yeah. Pause.
Yeah, man. But yeah.
All right, man. So thank you once again for tuning in to the Man Knows Hip Hop podcast. Much appreciated as always. We'll be back next week with another topic. Sign out, man.
Yes, thank you very much for joining in, man. I hope you had fun with this one. As always, throw your comments or what have you, share, retweet, whatever, man. Join in. Really do appreciate you like logging on and checking us out every week, man. It means a lot. But yeah, man. So stay tuned. We'll be back next week, like Slack said. Man Knows Hip Hop, the podcast that knows and celebrates hip hop. Peace, love, always.
Peace.